Okay, good morning. Mic test, mic test. Class, can you hear me now? Okay. So, good morning again. To begin, may I request Hans Sabaria to please lead a prayer. Hans? Okay. Okay, good morning again, STEM A. Welcome to General Biology 2 class. So, before anything else, let us visit first our Google Classroom. So, just wait for a moment, class. Okay, so now we are here. What you can see on your screen is our Google Classroom. Can you see it, class?
Yes po.
Okay, so all the materials, activities, and other resources will be posted here, okay, to be used during our lecture. So as you can see, okay, some of them were already posted, isn't it? But you're not going to click them right now, okay? So you are going to use them later during your group activity, okay? All right. So before we start our lesson for today, let me check first your attendance. So there are 32 students who are present today. Okay. Just wait for a moment, class. Okay, can you see my PowerPoint presentation? Okay. So before we start our lecture for today, let us discuss first our house rules. What are the things to be remembered during our virtual class? Okay. So number one, set your microphone to mute. Okay. So you're going to turn it on only during the question and answer or once you are called by your teacher. Okay. Number two, okay, always turn on your camera. So please, everybody please turn on your camera. May I request everyone to please turn on your camera. Okay. All right. How about Victoria, Rafael? Please turn on your camera. We will not continue unless everyone's camera has turned on. Okay. How about Hans? Please turn on your camera. Again, we will not continue unless everyone's camera has turned on. Come on, class. Okay, let's wait for the others. Okay, so thank you for your cooperation. Okay, third, okay, listen attentively to the teacher. Okay, so make sure you have your pen and your paper or your notebook to take down notes. Okay, so I will be calling someone for recitation later. Okay, and number four, participate actively during discussion and activities. And last, do not abuse the chat box. Okay, so you're going to use the chat box if you have question, clarification, or if you're going to answer a question. Okay? Now, let's have our objectives for today. Okay. Can you please read the first objective, Carl, Colina? Hindi kita. Okay, wait lang. Just wait for a moment. Okay, can you see it now? Okay, please read. Carl, the first objective.
The first objective, number 1, define fossil.
Okay, how about the second objective? Please read. Ishi.
Identify the types of fossils.
Okay, and last objective, please read Chris Mark. Chris Mark? Are you still with me? Okay, kindly read the last objective, please.
Explain the importance of fossil in studying Earth's climate, biological and geological events.
Okay, so these are our objectives for today's lesson. So now, I'm going to show you some pictures. Okay, so what you're going to do is just describe what the picture wants to tell us. Are you ready? Are you ready, class? Okay, so for the first picture, may I request Alejandro, Daniel. Daniel. Yes po. What can you say about the picture?
The picture shows a frozen Earth.
All right. Okay, thank you for that, Danielle. How about the second picture? Kisha.
Shows the movement of the continents.
Okay.
All right. So, are you familiar with continental drifting?
Yes,
Yes.
All right. So it shows the continental drifting of the Earth. How about this, the third picture? How about Samantha?
Yes. This is a picture from one of the famous movies. I think, nakalimutan ko na po yung title. Anyways, it is a picture of describing what people look like or what they are back in the olden days where back in the olden days. That's all po.
Okay, so this family picture, they are the main cast of The Croods. Okay, so the movie film The Croods. So this family picture shows the what do you call this? The what do you think is the habitat of this family picture shown in the movie film? Selan. Selan?
From what I remember, ma'am, ang habitat nila is yung stones.
Okay, so they live in caves, remember? Okay, so how about this, the last picture?
How about the
vid?
vid? The
The
vid.
vid. Okay, please describe the picture.
The picture shows animals that first came into the earth, and
Okay, so it shows animals that live on Earth a million years ago. Okay, so this is what we call, thank you David, this is what we call the giant ground slot, also known as the megatherium. Okay, so do they exist until now? Obviously, they are already extinct. But How do we know about animals from long ago that no longer live on Earth? Anyone? Kathleen?
Extinct po, ma'am.
Again?
Extinct.
They are already extinct. But how do we know that they exist on Earth? Okay, correct. So, so the fossils. What is a fossil? Trisha? Trisha? How about Raphael? What is a fossil? What do you think a fossil is?
Fossils are the remains of animals or any living organism that may suggest life before.
Okay, so they are the remains of living things. But how sure are you that this is a fossil? How sure are you that this is a fossil? So for you to answer those questions, let me give you a group activity. Okay, but before that, let me show to you first our rubrics for scoring. Okay, so we have here presentation, 5 points, cooperation, 5 points, correctness of the output, 5 points, for creativity, another 5 points, total of 20 points. Okay, so now let's go back to our Google Classroom. Okay. As you can see, there are 5 posted activities, right? But as you visit our classroom using your own devices, you only see 1 task, isn't it? Class. Are you still with me? Okay. Okay, thank you for that. Meaning to say that is the group where you belong. Now, kindly click them. Kindly click them and meet your group mates. So is everybody now in their assigned task? May I know? Please use the comment section for your responses. Is everybody now in their assigned task? May I know, please? Okay, yes po, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right. Now, for general instruction, please listen, read, and follow the directions found in your assigned task. Okay? You have 10 minutes to do your task. Once the time is over, everybody will present their outputs, whether finished or not finished. Is that clear? Okay, do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? Class, please use the chat box. So I guess, okay, no questions, ma'am. All right. Hi, you may now start. Good luck and enjoy. Okay, time is up, class. So nobody now is allowed to edit your slides, okay? So now, may I request the first group to present their output. Group 1 will be your presenter. For group 1, who will be your presenter, class? May I know, please?
Ako na lang po, ma'am.
Okay. Please share with us your Google slide. Okay.
Kita niyo po?
Yes, Hans.
Yes,
Okay
Hans.
So, good morning, everyone. This is the task given to Group 1, and this is the instruction given to us. So, identify the following shown in the picture if fossil or not. Briefly explain why oil or why not. So, the first picture shows a picture of a carving of ancient man. So, this is our explanation. Yes, this is an evidence that proves that a certain living thing or a group existed in prehistoric age or time. And this can tell us the way life is lived then and may tell us also when this was imprinted. Sorry for the typo. A fossil is an evidence of a living thing. So that is why it is a fossil. And the next is here a picture of a mummified person, or here desiccation, also known as a mummification, is classified as a very unique and rare form of fossilization. Bones and tissues of these organisms of the desert are preserved, although they often fall apart or the slightest of touch. Since the bones and tissues of organisms are preserved, they are considered as fossils. Next is a picture of a not actually a plant, but it is already a mold because it's already within the rock. So the picture shows a mold of a certain plant species. And common mold fossils include skin, leaves, teeth, claws, and embryos. Therefore, it is a fossil. And here is a picture of a footprint, and it is clearly that it is a trace and not a sculpture. This figure shown is a fossil, also known as a trace fossil. It is a hardened trace of footprint of an ancient man. And wait, that is all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Hans. Okay, so as you can see, class, the first group is tasked to identify materials whether they are fossils or not. Okay, so later on, we will find out if those answers are correct. Okay, good job, group 1. Okay, let's proceed to the next group, group 2.
Our task is look at the shape of the organism. What kind of insect does it look like to you? And there are description in the tag, which population is on Marylou size is 1.4 inches, weight is 2.4 ounces, and it's found in a forest. Some of the oldest insects trapped in the amber have been found in Marylou dating back 150 million years. Based on the information on the tag, write a hypothesis about how the insect ended up in the amber. A hypothesis is a good guess based on things you observe about on an object or experiment. Here is the answers of my group mates. Resins confound a wide range of herbivores, insects, and pathogens, while the volatile phenolic compounds may attract benefactors such as parasitoids or predators of the herbivores that attacks the plant. Attracted by the smell of resin, the insect landed on the sticky substance becoming trapped in the said substance. The resin or amber hardened, resulting to the preservation of the insect. Insects are attracted by its smell. As they make contact, they are then entrapped and unable to untangle themselves. As the substance hardens, they are then preserved within it. The bee is attracted to the tree because of its smell, and the tree has a sticky liquid where the bee is trapped, and this is where the bee is preserved, which the result of the bee is stuck in the amber. When the tree is scratched, it releases a substance called resin. The insect might have been attracted to the substance. The resin will harden over the time, trapping the insect inside. And last, based on what I have seen on television, the insect might have been trapped in amber because a million of years ago, this insect might have been trapped in viscous liquid. Once viscous liquids become solid, the insect will be fossilized. A tree sap can be an example of a viscous liquid. That's all, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Carl. Okay. So group two is tasked to give hypothesis. Okay. Based on the information on the tag of the fossil, given fossil. So the given fossil is an amber. Okay. So congratulations, group number two. Let's proceed to group number three. So for group number three, we have Morse. Who else? We have Gilbert and Art. So who will be the presenter? Please present your output now, group 3. Okay, so si Morse.
Sige po, wait lang.
Okay po.
Nakashare na po.
Not yet.
Ano? Hindi nag-ano. Sige po. Yun na po.
Yes, Art. Pwede po makadagdag in. Opo, sure. After the presentation of Morse.
Ma'am, nakashare na po.
Hindi pa po. Not yet. Okay. Okay na, Morse. Nawala ulit. Okay. Okay.
Okay na po.
Okay.
Wait.
Yes po.
So this is group 3 task. I am a paleontologist. Yes, paleontologist. So, we were given the location of some exact fossils, which is from Bakakay albay, size 5 feet, weight 4 pounds, and the description is a fossil found in a sedimentary rock in Bakakay albay. And see, the animal looks like a fish. So, based on the information in the tag, write a hypothesis about how this animal ended up in the fossil site. A hypothesis is a good guess based on things you observe about an object or experiment. So this is the hypothesis that the group created. So using geological maps, which is used by paleontologists, a sedimentary rock was found at Makakay Albay, Philippines. The fossil found was shaped like a fish, which leads to conclusion that this particular species lives underwater. This particular fish was fossilized in a sedimentary rock because of the weather is favorable for the said animal. How was the fish fossilized? The fish was fossilized because of some factors like global warming, changes in the temperature, and many more. Its weight and mali ang length and length, is the same as a human being. Being a vertebrate animal also helps in fossilizing the fish. Due to these factors, the fish had been fossilized in Bakakay Albay. So that's all for now.
Okay, thank you, Morse. I think Art Bedis has additional information. Art,
Yes po. Hi, guys.
can unmute your mic. Thank you, Morse.
Yes, hi, Chris. May dagdag lang po akong information duman po sa report kang group. One of the factors man po.
Okay.
One of the factors rin po kung ba't siya nag-fossilize is that ang location ang tipo baga salt water and salt water and salt is one product or saro po siya sa is kang mga species sa dagat na po siya nakakapadray po siya kang mga ang animals vertebrates sa animals. Tapos, since size po siya kang human, it's classified as ano, vertebrates. And, syempre, pag igwa siya ki bones or doon lang, na fossilized. Ayun.
Okay, thank you, Art and Morse. Thank you, group number 3. Okay, so as you can see, their task is the same as group 2. However, this time, the given species is a fish fossil. Okay, so thank you, group 2. Next group, group number 4. So we have Samantha, we have Tano, Danielle, and Susmita. So who will be your presenter? Okay, Dan, please share your slide.
Okay, so good morning everyone. This is the presentation of Group 4. Our task is entitled Mold and Cast. The instruction is read the passage for the part A, read the passage, then answer the questions that follow. The passage states that fossils often form when silt or mud covers an organism or a part of an organism. The silt or mud hardens before the organism decays. As the organism decays, a fossil remains. A fossil mold is formed if a cavity is left in a rock that has the shape of the organism, while a fossil cast forms if the sediment fills the mold and then hardens. The question given to us were the questions given to us were what is a fossil mold, what is a fossil cast, and is it possible for a fossil cast to form without fossil mold? Why or why not? So our answer for the first question on what a fossil mold is. A fossil mold is a fossil formed. A fossil mold is formed when an animal, plant, or other organism dies and is covered by sediments. Its flesh decays and bones deteriorate due to the chemical reactions, and a cavity remains below the ground surface. Okay, can you hear me na po?
Okay, so we start from question number 1. Is
Okay,
it
I'm very
okay?
sorry.
Okay.
Na-disconnect lang ako ng slide.
Okay. It's okay.
So, the answer for the first question, which was what a fossil mold is a fossil mold is formed when an animal, plant, or other organism dies and is covered by sediment. Its flesh decays and bones deteriorate due to chemical reactions, and a cavity remains below the ground surface. A fossil mold is formed if a cavity is left in a rock that is the shape of the organism. So, for example, if this was the organism, it will take the shape of my hand, like it will look like this. And the next question was, what is a fossil cast? So a fossil cast is formed when sediment fills the mold and then hardens. Casts are replicas of the shell or bone that are formed from the external or internal molds. So it's going to take the shape of my hand, but instead of the hand, it will it will take the shape of outside my hand. So it's going to look like a mold. We have a picture here in the next slide. That's for later. And the third question is it possible for a fossil cast to form without a fossil mold? Why or why not? So our answer is yes, based on the definitions given to us, based on our answers in 1 and 3. 2, it is possible for a fossil cast to form without a fossil mold since both cover opposite parts of a fossil. One covers the fossil's interior while other the exterior. Therefore, we can either see both the fossil mold and fossil cast or just one. And the next part was to identify which one of these is a fossil cast and a fossil mold. In the answer in number 1, the answer is fossil cast because it takes the shape of the organism. As you can see, it's like it's the organism itself, while the fossil mold it's it's a hollow version of fossil. Um, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Danielle. So the group four was assigned to discuss all about the mold and the task. Okay, very good, group four. How about the last group? So for group five, we have Balasta, David, Colina, and Kisha.
Keisha Pullman.
So who will be your presenter?
Keisha.
Again, we have Balasta, David, Carl Colina, and Kisha.
Ako na lang.
May I know please who will be your presenter?
Ako na lang.
Okay. Okay, Carl. Please share with us your slide.
Nakita mo.
Yes po.
So good morning. This is the task given to us group. I. We are tasked to read the following paragraphs all about the car- fossils, petrified fossils, and carbonized fossils. A fossil may form when the remains of an organism become petrified. The term petrified means turned into stone. Petrified fossils are fossils in which minerals replace all, or part of an organism. Fossil tree trunks are an example of petrified wood. These fossils formed after sediment covered the wood. Then water rich in dissolved minerals seep into spaces into the plant cell. Over time, the minerals come out of solution and harden, filling in all of the spaces. Some of the original wood remains, but the minerals have hardened and preserved. So the next paragraph is another type of fossil is a carbon film, an extremely thin coating of carbon on rock. How does a carbon film form? Remember that all living things contain carbon. When sediment buries an organism, some of the materials that make up the organism evaporate or become gases. These gases escape from the sediment, leaving carbon behind. Eventually, only a thin film of carbon remains. This process can preserve the delicate parts of plants, leaves, and insects. Now, complete the following question. So the first question is, what is a petrified fossil or how does it form? Our answer is, a petrified fossil is a fossil in which minerals replace all or parts of an organism. So it is stated that petrified means turned into stone. So how does it turn into stone? So an organism was preserved due to minerals that replace all parts or parts of it and harden. The process is to rich in dissolved minerals seep into the cell of the organism, and as time passed by, the minerals came out of the solution and hardened in all the spaces. So next question. What is a carbonized fossil or how does it form? Carbon films, also called carbonized fossils, form when sediment buries an organism and some of the materials that make up the organism evaporate and become gases. These gases escape from the sediments and only a thin film of carbon was left behind. This lead to the only to the preservation of the delicate parts of the organism, and the organism is subjected to pressure and heat as sediments pile up. So there are two pictures, and we are asked to which is carbonized, which is petrified. So the first picture is it looks like a fish, and we think that it is a thin film of carbon in which the delicate parts of a fish was left behind and all materials and almost all materials in the fish evaporate. So this is a carbonized fossils. Now, next fossil. Next is the picture of that it is a fossil tree trunk. So it is a petrified um, fossil since it almost turned into a stone. It turned into a stone and yun lang. Yun lang. Okay. That's all. Thank
Okay.
you.
Are you done,
Yes.
Carl? Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Carl Vincent. Okay, so he talked about the difference between carbonized fossil and the petrified fossils. So I hope you get something from the presentation of each group. So job well done for everyone. So now to check your outputs, let us discuss all about fossils. Okay.
All right. So we know about dinosaurs and extinct giant animals and plants because we have found their fossils, right? Fossils create a diary telling us a story of the Earth's past. But take note, class, that reading and understanding the fossil diary can be tricky. Why? Because there are many pages missing. Okay? Some were destroyed by changes in the earth. Some have not been found. So still, other pages are blank. So these pages were never written on because most living things do not become fossils when they die. Okay? So people who do not know fossils can't read the diary. So if you want to understand the story it tells, you'll need to become a fossil detective. Again, what do you call a person who uses fossil clues to help figure out the story of what happened on Earth long ago? How do you call that person? How about Doff? Fossil detectives, specifically, okay, we have paleontologists. Very good. So paleontologists, remember, are scientists who look for fossils to try and fill in the missing pages of fossil diary for us to better understand the Earth's past. Okay? So now, let us learn how to read the fossil diary. So let us learn what is and what is not a fossil. So let me ask you this. Okay. How do you identify a fossil? Or what do you think a fossil is? So a while ago, your classmate answered that fossils are the remains of living things. Okay, so I remember that. So kindly take note of this definition. So fossils are the remains of living things. So all we know about fossils is that they are the remains of plants or they can be the remains of animals, right? So animal fossils are usually shells or bones, as you can see here in the picture. Okay? They are also usually a different color from when they were alive. Now, another question here. Do fossils to be the actual remains of a living thing? What's your answer for this question? How about you, Lore? Barbacena? Lore? Are you still with me? Lore? Okay. How about you, Victoria? Victoria? Class, are you still with me? Okay. Yes, Victoria. What's your answer for this question?
Do fossils to be actual remains of a living thing? No po, ma'am. Kasi based po naman sa group activity namin po, may mga fossils dun po yung mga imprints, mga molds, tsaka yung
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Victoria. So, take a look at this picture. Okay. So, do you think this is a fossil? Why or why not? Harvey? So according from Victoria, no, hindi daw actual remains. So how about this? Harvey? Harvey? How about Tricia? Miss Belen? Tricia? Can you please turn on your camera, class? So that I can see you if you are still there. Again, please turn on your camera, please. We will not continue unless everyone's camera is turned on. Please turn on your camera. How about Nell? Mary Nell? Mary Nell? Okay. Okay, do you think this is a fossil?
I think it is, ma'am, according to the group work of other group.
Okay. So, thank you, Nell. So, this picture shows the footprints of a snipe-like shorebird that lived among the dinosaurs about 100 million years ago. So, class, no bones of this bird are known to exist. Only footprints. Okay? So, take note that footprints are not part of living thing, right? But, since they were made by living things, they are considered as evidence. Okay? So yes, footprints are fossils. So fossils are not just the remains of living things. Fossils can be something that a living thing made, an evidence or a trace. So if we are going to revise the definition of fossil, what should it be? Who can try? How about Celan? How about you, Celan? Can you revise our definition on fossil?
Sorry, ma'am. For me, fossils can be remains of living things, but it can also be something that a living thing lives or that is part of those living things, like those footprints.
Okay, thank you, Celan. Or it could be, that is correct, or it could be fossils are the remains or evidence of living things. Okay? So how about the next picture here? So the picture shows an Egyptian mummy. Okay. Question, do you think the mummy is a fossil? Why or why not? Ulysses? Ulysses? How about Cheska? Okay, si Ulysses na, okay. Okay, Ulysses, what's your answer for this question? No, why? Why? Pardon, again? Why not? Okay, so take note, class. Thank you, Ulysses. Okay, so take note, class, that mummy was made by man. Okay? Through mummification process. Okay? So fossils, take note, class, that they have to form naturally without any help from man. That's why the mummy is not a fossil. Okay? So again, let us revise our definition on fossils. Who can try? Sige, let's go back to Cheska. Cheska. Okay. Can you revise our definition on fossil?
Fossils are the remains of living or evidence of living things.
So you mentioned about evidence and remains. So take note, the Egyptian mummy is not considered as fossil because it is made by human. So I think there is a lacking word. Do you want to try again? Cheska? Sige.
The fossils are the remains or yung ano po, yung, yung mga remains ng prehistoric organism na not preserved from as ano po ma'am, as a rock but not made of humans po.
Okay, thank you, Cheska. Okay. How about, let's try again for another answer. How about, how about, sige, Doff.
Fossils are the remains or evidence of living things, but a fossil is not a fossil if it is not naturally formed and and if it is formed by or it is man-made.
Okay, thank you, Doc. Or, to shorten our definition, it could be fossils are the natural remains or evidence of living things. Okay, so how many clues do we have now? Dov, how many clues do we have now? Okay, so what are those?
The the remains, the evidence, and if it is man-made or not.
Okay, natural. Okay, natural remains and evidence. Okay, thank you, Doc. Okay, so here, another picture. Okay, so who among you are familiar with this picture? So, anyone? Okay, correct, Dan. Thank you for that. So this is the ancient Egyptian writing system called hieroglyph. So do you think it is a fossil or not a fossil? How about you, Morse? Why? Not a fossil. Okay, why?
Because I maybe yes, ma'am.
Or why yes?
Because ano ma'am, as you said, ma'am, fossils can be the remains of evidence of living things. Since hieroglyph is the evidence of what happened in the Egyptian period, it can be considered a fossil.
Okay, thank you, Morse. Okay. However, class, okay, listen, this is not a fossil. Why? Another reason why Egyptian mummies are not a fossil is that they are not old enough. Okay? So fossils should be prehistoric. When we say prehistoric, class, meaning they come from a time before people could record their history. Okay? So take note that mummies come from a time when people were recording their history. So therefore, this writing system, this hieroglyph is not a fossil. Did you get that? Class? Okay, so take note, a fossil should be from prehistoric. Okay. So, if we're going to improve our definition on fossil, okay, what should it be? Who can revise again for the last time? How about you, Art?
Mm, Fossils are natural remains and evidences of prehistoric living things.
Okay, so correct. So we have fossils are the natural remains or evidence of living things from prehistoric time. So as fossil detectives, we now know exactly what kind of clues we're looking for as we search for missing pages of the fossil diary. So what are the 4 clues or qualities? Again, Raf, what are the 4 clues? Rafael?
Fossils are they are the remains of they are evidences or traces that suggest their existence. They need to be naturally made or without the help of humans, and they need to be dated back
at prehistoric time.
Okay, very good. So just remember these four words. We have natural, remains, evidence or trace, and we have the prehistoric time. All right. So what about the bones of a caveman? Is this a fossil or not? Nell. Mary Nell. Mary Nell? Yes. Is this a fossil or not a fossil? Caveman. Bones of a caveman. Is it a fossil or not a fossil? Okay. So obviously, class, the bones of the caveman would be a fossil. Okay? Thank you, Nell. Okay. So here, cavemen drew pictures of animals on the walls of their caves. So do we consider these drawings as fossils? How about Harvey? Harvey. Can we consider this as fossil? Yes? Why yes?
It is considered an evidence.
Okay. Okay. Sige, thank you, Harvey. Yes, the drawing show animals that live at the time. But take note that the drawing don't record the history of the cavemen. So therefore, the drawings are not fossils. Did you get that? Did you get that, class? Okay. So the drawings are not fossil. Okay? Now, how about this one? So sometimes, class, it's hard to tell if something is really the prehistoric remains or evidence of a living thing. So take a look at this picture. So do you think this is a fossil or not a fossil? How about you, Dop? Dop, is this a fossil or not?
Yes po.
Okay, why?
Carbon, carbon fossil.
Okay, so it looks like a carbon fossils or carbon film. Okay, thank you, Doc. So this picture shows the dendrite. Okay. What is a dendrite? Dendrite is a type of mineral deposit. Take note, mineral deposits. So these are actually mineral manganese. Okay, so these are actually mineral manganese that dissolve in water. The water seeped into the rock. Then later, the water dried up, leaving the manganese behind. The pattern, as you can see, looks like a tree or fern, right? But take note, class, it's not a fossil of a plant. Okay? So it's a bit confusing. So for us to identify if it's a fossil or a dendrite, let us examine them. So here, we have the plant fossil and then the dendrite. So obviously, the picture to the left is the fossil, plant fossil, and to the right, we have the dendrite. So how would you compare the plant fossil and the dendrite? Let us,
Color po.
again,
The first picture is a bit the first picture is a bit
okay.
brownish, while the second one is color black.
Okay, so she compared the two using their colors. Okay, how about, thank you, Selan. How about you, Rafael?
Uh, for me, the fossils are more refined or more shaped, I guess,
Okay.
versus the dendrite that are are very straight, I guess.
Na maray siya.
Okay, sige, thank you for that. So dendrites are usually flat. like a drawing on a piece of paper, isn't it? Okay. Whereas the fossils are not flat. Okay. So, as you can see here, the rounded shape of the plant fossils, there are impressions or the fossils are embedded in rocks. Okay. Another clue is that if you're going to examine the sedimentary rocks, the dendrites class follow the cracks in stones. That's because they were formed by flowing water which seeps along the cracks. Okay? Mineral crystals are not from living things. So they are not fossils. Okay, remember one of the characteristics of mineral crystals when you were in grade 11 in your earth science. One of its characteristics is that they have repeating geometric shapes. Okay, rather than here, okay, the natural curving shapes of living things. And usually, class, mineral crystals are illustrated by snowflake formation and frost patterns on a window. Tama ba? Okay. So, next picture tayo. Okay, so look at the picture to the left. Is it a fossil or not? May I know your answer? Danielle.
Based on what I observed, it's not a fossil, since from my understanding, it looks like a leg, someone's leg, and someone's leg. Oh wait, it may or may not be a fossil, depending on if this is a statue or uh, a, a cast of someone's foot.
Okay, thank you, Daniel. Correct. This picture, okay, this is a picture of a stone. Okay? The stone just happens to be shaped like a human leg. Okay? But because it's not from a living thing, it's not a fossil. Remember that animal fossils usually show only the hard parts of the body, like the shell, the teeth, or the bones. Okay? Take note of that. But, in some very rare cases, class, that's not always true. Let me give you an example. This one. Not preserved in amber. What is an amber? What is an amber? An amber class is a fossilized tree sap. Okay. It is a fossilized tree sap. What is sap in Tagalog? The katas, okay, of the plant. Okay, so this is a fossilized sap. As you can see, there is a fossil of an insect inside the fossilized sap. So when we are talking about amber, amber is a fossil in a fossil. Did you get that? Class, do you understand? Okay, very good. So this picture shows a 40 million year old nut. So the entire body of the nut has been preserved. So it is also possible to fossilize the soft body parts of a living thing. Okay? Okay, so let's have a learning checkpoint. So let's see if you can identify a fossil and not a fossil. So you're just going to show your thumbs up if you think it's a fossil, thumbs down if you think it's not. So please turn on your camera, class. Okay, please turn on your camera. Okay, so let's proceed to the first picture. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, so first picture. Is it a fossil or not a fossil? Dov. Is it a fossil or not? Dov. What's your answer? Yes or no? Ay, thumbs down. Why? Just answer me yes or no na lang, class, ha? Okay. So, is it a fossil or not? So, you said no. Why?
I think no po, ma'am. Yung details po, ma'am, na ano, parang, ano po, ma'am, visible pa parang.
Okay, this is not a fossil. Why? Because it is not prehistoric. Okay? Remember that a fossil should be from prehistoric time. Okay? Next picture. How about, okay, I will give you a clue. Ay! Napakita ko na. Okay. So what's the answer? So what's your answer? Yes. Okay, since I accidentally clicked the answer, you're going to answer the next picture. Okay? So this one is a fossil because it's an evidence. Okay? So it is a fossil dinosaur nest. Okay? So this one, how about this one? Nell, you again. Mary Nell. Again. Why no? What do you think is this? Again? What do you think are these? Okay,
Yes,
this.
Mark. What
What
are
are
these
these?
are writings?
Writing. So you said no, it's not a fossil, right?
Siguro, ma'am, sa alloy,
It looks like waves. Okay. Okay, thank you for that. How about you, Kathleen? Kathleen,
ah,
Yes, ma'am.
is it a fossil or not? Why no?
Because it's not natural, ma'am. It's man-made.
What do you think are these?
ano po, ma'am, alloy, so, anay ba,
Al.
ma'am?
Alloy. Actually, class, this is a fossil. Okay? These are holes or what do you call this? Holes or burrows created by prehistoric worms. Okay? So this is an evidence. So therefore, it's a fossil. Did you get that? Did you get that, class? Okay. Okay, thank you for Spancy. How about this picture? How about Trisha? Trisha Belen.
Ma'am,
Fossil or not fossil?
not fossil po.
Why?
Um, they are, ano ma'am, not prehistoric evidences.
Okay, correct. Very good. Okay. How about this picture? Ishi. Ishi?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it a fossil or not?
Yes, a fossil.
Fossil.
Again? Okay, why?
It's a prehistoric din, ma'am.
And another, what are these? They are,
Print.
okay, so they are evidence. So correct. How about this picture? Oh, why are you laughing? How about you, how about you, Raf?
Doon.
What are these? So, so are these fossils or not fossils? Sorry to those who are eating. Okay. Fossil or not fossil? Raf?
I think they are fossils.
Why? And?
They are remains. They are not man-made, and uh, they're prehistoric.
Okay. So this is what we call class. Thank you, Raf. Correct. This is a fossil. Okay. This is what we call coprolite. Okay. So these feces reveal the diet of the organism. So this is an evidence. Okay, so therefore, this is a fossil. How about the last picture? Okay, how about you, Morse? How about you, Morse?
No, ma'am.
Why no?
Because mom, it looks like the dendrites, mom.
Okay, correct. So it is a dendrite. So therefore, it is not a fossil. Okay, very good class. So I guess you can identify now what is a fossil and not a fossil. So now, let us talk about the types of fossils. So as you can see, class, there are 5 types of fossils that we're going to discover this time. So let's have the first one. So the first one is the mold and cast. So it was already discussed by group number 4. Okay? So what is mold and what is cast? Actually, class, mold and cast, it is the common type of fossils. Okay? It is a fossilization process that produces copies. Take note, it produces copies of the shapes of an ancient organism. So it contains details as to what they look alike, or as to what they look like, rather. Okay? A mold, take note, is a hollow area, as what the group 4 mentioned a while ago. So it is a hollow area in rock in the shape of an organism or part of an organism. Take note, class, that a mold is a cavity in the rock. Okay? That forms when the hard part of an organism is buried in sediment, like we have the bones, the shells. Then later, water-carrying dissolved minerals may seep into the empty space of the mold. Okay? If the water deposits the mineral there, the result is a cast. What is a cast? Cast is a solid copy of the shape of an organism. Again, the mold is just a hollow area or cavity, while the cast is the solid copy of the shape of an organism. Did you get that? Did you get that, class?
Ano ma'am, solid.
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, again, the mold is a cavity in a rock or hollow area, while cast is the solid copy of the shape. Okay? Did you get that? Are you still with me? Okay, Nell, can you identify which is the mold and which is the cast?
Ang mold ay yung A.
Okay, therefore, okay, correct. So this one, the letter A is the mold because as you can see, there is a cavity or hollow area, isn't it? While B is the solid copy or the cast of an organism. Okay, so for you to easily understand mold and cast, class, let's have this picture. So we have the cake and its pan. Okay, so we have cake and pan. Take note, class, that fossil molds and casts preserve a three-dimensional impression of remains buried in sediment. So when we are talking about the mold, it is the mineralized cavity or impression of the organism left in the sediment. So if we are going to compare the mold dito sa dalawa, which one is the mold? Is it the pan or the cake?
The cake.
The cake, the pan,
Pan.
again, the mold.
Pan.
Japan.
Okay, so the answer is the pan. Okay, very good. So therefore, the cast represented by the cake. So what is a cast? Cast is the mineralized sediment that fills, okay, that fills the mold, recreating the shape of the remains. So now, question, is it possible for a fossil cast to form without this, without the fossil mold? Is it possible? Who can answer? So this is one of the questions given to group number 4, I think. So is it possible? Who wants to answer? Okay, Nell. Nell, are you going to answer the question? Oh, who wants to answer? How about you, Samantha? Is it possible for a fossil cast, okay, to form without fossil mold?
I as what we've answered po ma'am kasi part pa ako ng group 4.
Okay.
I think it is possible since magkaiba po yung yung kinukuhanan nila ng shape since ang mold is yung outer part and has a hollow part or it is the cavity while the cast is the solid part that takes shape of the living organism.
Okay, how about this? If we remove, okay, how about this, Samantha? If we're going to remove this pan, okay, can we create the cake? The shape of the cake? Samantha?
No.
Okay, so what's your final answer for that question?
No.
Okay, so it is not possible because cast is formed when there is a fossil mold. Did you get that? Okay. Now, okay, so remember CC, cast as copy or cast as the cake. Okay? For you to easily remember the difference between mold and cast. Is that clear? Okay. So next picture we have the petrified fossil. So these fossils are formed when minerals replace the structure of an organism. Okay? So this process is called the petrification process. It occurs, listen carefully, when groundwater solutions saturate or soak the remains of plants or animals. So as the water evaporates, the minerals remain, eventually filling in the spaces left as the organism is slowly decays. Take note, class, that this process, the petrification process, is usually happens sa mga highly porous materials such as wood and bone. They are often petrified. Again, it is formed or they are formed when minerals replace the structure of an organism. Did you get that? Okay, very good. So, next picture. We have the carbon film or the carbonized fossil. So, how does this happen? Take note, class, that all organisms are made up of carbon, as what the last group said a while ago. So, when they are buried, the materials that make up the organism evaporates. Okay? So, these gases escape, leaving the carbon behind. A carbon film is the film of carbon left on a rock by a decaying organism, and it is preserved as fossil. So, a carbon film, class, is an organism outline of a fossil. Okay? So, usually they are black, they are dark brown or light brown in color because they are made up of carbon, isn't it? Okay, and of course, depending on the type of rock, they are pressed upon. So if we're going to compare carbon film and petrified fossil, can you identify which one is the carbon film or carbonized fossil and petrified fossil? Can you identify them, class? Okay, so very good. Okay, so let's have the fourth type of fossil. So let us have a short review about the types of fossils that we already discussed. May I call in Harvey? 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 Please unmute your mic. Okay. So how many types of fossils do we have now? Okay, what are those?
Mold and cast,
Okay.
petrified fossil, tas carbon.
Okay, very good. Very good, Harvey. Okay, so the fourth type of fossil is what we call the trace fossil. So, trace fossils are fossilized mark that is formed in soft sediment by the movement or actions. Take note, they are formed by the movement or actions of an animal, like the footprints. Okay? So footprints provide clues about the size and behavior of the ancient organism, the speed, how many legs it walked on. Did the organism live alone or with others? Another example we have is the egg fossil. Okay? So egg fossils are fossilized remains of eggs laid by the ancient animals. So these are evidence, or it is used as evidence of the physiological processes of an animals. So therefore, egg fossils are considered as type of trace fossil. And the last one, the trail or burrow or the holes or tunnels dug by animals. So they can give clues about the size and shape of the organism, where it lived, and how it obtained food. So those are examples of trace fossil. Okay? Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions, class? Okay. Okay. Thank you for your responses. Okay, let's have the last type of the fossil. So we have the original remains. So from its word, original remains. So the organism is preserved with little or no change. So example, we have the amber. Okay? And another example is this. We have a female mammoth calf. This has been found trapped in the Siberian ice. So as you can see, it is fully preserved. Okay? So we have the 5 types of fossil. Now, let us complete the fossils concept map. Are you ready? Are you ready, class?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So for the first picture, may I know the answer of Trisha? What type of fossil is this?
Ma'am, mold and cast.
Okay. Again, what is the difference between mold and cast? Trisha? Yes, yes.
Ang mold po, ma'am, it is a cavity or hollow area. Tapos, ang cast po, ma'am, is a hardened, yung hardened.
Or remember the word copy. Okay, copy of the shape of the organism. Okay, so we have the mold and then the cast. How about the second picture?
Ma'am, wait lang po. May tanong lang po ako.
Yes po. Yes po.
Bigla ko po kasi naisip. Ang amber po ba napapaloob sa original remains?
Yes. Yes po. Okay. All right. So how about the second picture, David?
Petrified fossil.
Okay, correct. This is a petrified fossil. Question. How is it formed? Or how does the petrified fossil form?
Uh, Petrified fossils are formed in which minerals replace all or part of the organism.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for
that
that
answer,
answer,
David.
David.
How
How
about
about
this
this
picture?
picture?
Please mark.
Mark. Please mark. Please mark.
Are
Are
you
you
still
still
with
with
me?
me?
Okay.
Okay.
What
What
type
type
of
of
fossil
fossil
is
is
this?
this?
Oh,
Look.
please
Please
mark.
mark. Date ko. You can use the chat box or the comment box. I think there is a technical problem. Okay. Carnon po. Carnon? What is carnon? Carbonized. Okay. So this is a carbonized fossil or carbon film. Okay. So how about this picture? Art. Bedis. Art. Art, are you still with me? Yes. Again? Okay, can you give us another example of trace fossils?
Another example of tree fossils are hosts that are made by the prehistoric animals such as dinosaurs.
Okay, so we have the...
And another example is the nest of the dinosaurs that was shown to us before.
Or the eggs. Okay, thank you, Art. And the last picture, Hazel. Hazel, what type of fossil is shown in the last picture? Hazel.
Amber po, ma'am.
Type of fossil. Correct, that is an auger. Type of fossil, how about? Hazel. What type of fossil is that?
Original.
Okay, we have the original remains. Okay, very good. Okay, now, let's talk about the importance of studying fossils. Are fossils important? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Why is it important for humans to study fossils? Anyone? How about Dan? Danielle? Okay. Why are fossils important to Earth's history?
Fossils are important to Earth's history because they serve as evidence as to what kind of life, how the Earth looked like, or how the Earth was like before we humans were even here, and they also serve as exact, and they may also be used to, and they are used to learn about evolution of the different species in our planet.
Okay, exactly. Very good, Danielle. All right. So let's have another example. Okay. So let's say we have the mold and cast. Okay. Mold and cast provide scientists or paleontologists clues about the surface anatomy and behavior of an ancient organism. Okay. Another is, listen, what did scientists think about the surface of the Earth when these seashell, molds, and casts were found on mountain tops? How about the coals found in places with cold environment like Antarctica? So paleontologist class use fossils to try or to provide evidence of Earth's climate in the past. Okay. Fossils can also be used to learn about past environments and changes in Earth's surface. Scientists can learn a lot about ancient climates, including changes in temperature, carbon dioxide concentration, and if there were volcanic eruptions because of studying fossils. So these were mentioned by group 3. Okay. So studying fossils give us information about how animals and plants lived in the past millions of years ago. It also tells scientists how the Earth has changed. So by studying the fossil record class, we can tell how different plants and animals are related to each other. So those are some of the importance of studying fossils. Okay, now, okay, so we are done with my PowerPoint presentation. So now since you already know what fossil is, let me give you a short quiz. So let us know how far have you learned. Okay. So let us go back to our Google Classroom and let me post your quiz for today. I just wait, class. Okay. So kindly refresh your Google Classroom. Can you see now the evaluation form? The title is, Are You a Fossil Finder? Can you see it now, class? Okay. Okay, very good. So kindly, okay, please click the evaluation form. So read and follow the instruction. You have 3 minutes to answer the questions and to prove that you can be a fossil detective. So good luck. Okay, so we have 9 responses, 10 responses. Okay, so we have 20 responses. Okay, so we have 24 responses,
25
25
responses.
responses.
Okay, so I guess everybody's done. So let us check your answers. Okay. So, so for question number 1, class, are you still with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So for question number 1, please read Morse.
It is a fossilized mark that is formed in soft sedimentary by the movement or actions of an animal. Um, trace fossils po, ma'am.
Okay, correct. So we have the trace fossil. Thank you, Morse. How about the second question, Rafael?
What type of what type of fossilization is shown in figure number 1? The answer is carbon film.
Okay, correct. So this one is a carbonized fossil. How about the third question, Dov?
It is uh it is a solid copy of the shape of an organism. The cast.
Again, your answer is
Cast.
okay. Very good. That is the cast. Okay. Next question, please, Victoria.
It is a hollow area in a rock in the shape of an organism, part of a, part of an organism. Forms in the hard part of an organism, such as shell, hid in sediment. Mold.
Okay, so the answer is mold. Correct. Okay, next question tayo. How about Harvey?
Um, B and F po.
Okay, what's your answers?
B and F.
B and F. So which of
F.
the following in figure 2 are fossils? So your answers are B and F. Okay, because
Yes
letter
po.
B, what is this?
Um,
What do you think is this?
Trace
Trace po,
fossils.
ma'am.
It is an evidence. Okay.
Trace.
How about this one, letter F? Obviously, this is
Amber.
okay. Correct. Very good. Thank you, Harvey. Okay, next question. Trisha.
Which of the following is the best definition of fossils? Um, Fossils are naturally preserved remains or traces of animals, plants, and other organisms from prehistoric time.
Okay, very good. Next question. David.
Last question, ma'am.
Apo.
Which
This
of,
question.
which of
This
the,
one.
select the best comparison between plant fossils and dendrites.
Okay, so what's your answer?
Fossils commonly have impression in sedimentary rocks, while dendrites are flat and have repeating patterns.
Okay, very good. That is correct. Okay, next question. Kathleen. Kathleen.
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, please read the question.
Number, ano po, ma'am?
Ito po. Etong nasa cursor.
Which of the following fossils in figure 3 is a trace fossil? Letter B po.
Okay. What is this? What is shown in letter B? Kathleen.
Yung footsteps po or parang footmarks po ng organism.
Okay, correct. So that is a trace fossil. For the last question, may I request Ishi to answer the final question? Ishi.
Which of the following fossils in figure 3 is an original remain fossils? D,
Okay.
ma'am. D.
Okay, so letter D because it is an what?
Po.
Amber. Okay? Okay, correct. So let's see how many got 10 points. Okay, so the lowest point we have 7. Not bad. Okay. And the highest points we have, okay, 10 points. Perfect. So 17 got 10 points. 7 and 2 got 7 points. Another two students got 8 points, and 6 students rather got 9 points. Okay, very good class. So in preparation for our next discussion, next meeting, okay, I'm going to post your assignment. Okay? Just for a moment, class. Okay, can you see now the assignment? The title is Relative Dating. Can you see it, class? Okay, according to Doc, yes. Okay,
Yes po, ma'am.
so, okay, thank you for your response. So, submit it before Friday. Okay? By the way, since it's already time, I'm going to post the results or your scores from your um, activities today. So, just visit our Google Classroom later. Okay? So, that's all for today, class. Goodbye, and see you next meeting. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye, ma'am.